Toby Cadman joins us now from London. He's an international human rights lawyer and co-founder of Guernica 37. Toby, good to have you on the show. Does this trial actually make any difference, and will it bring the closure these families need?
Well, I think it's hugely significant. Of course, it's very disappointing that there's been no cooperation from Russia and that the four accused are not in court standing trial. But I think it is still hugely significant for the victims to see that justice is moving forward. We'll have to see what happens as the trial goes forward. But as we know, the complete lack of accountability for what happened, almost 300 people being killed, means that there has to be a process. And the Dutch, who suffered the most, 2/3 of the victims were Dutch. So it's important that it's being done, and the case is taking place near the airport where the plane took off. So I think that does provide some sense of closure to the victims that this process is being dealt with. But of course, it is disappointing that there's no cooperation from Russia and the defendants are not in court.
And it's so sad for some of these families. Some of the family members, their remains have never been found. Tell us, is there any another avenue that these families can take to get justice?
Well, there are different processes that can be pursued. Of course, there are civil and criminal. We now have a criminal trial. The outcome of that trial, I mean, the evidence is overwhelming. It's compelling evidence. Of course, the four accused have had the right to be tried and have waived their right to be present. But there are, of course, ways in which these matters can be dealt with, but a criminal trial is the most appropriate. Now, of course, there have been calls for this matter to be dealt with at the International Criminal Court, and of course, that is unlikely to happen. Now we have a criminal trial. At the end of that criminal trial, it will be up to the families to pursue civil compensation for the deaths of their family members. So I think what we will see, we'll have to wait to see the end of this trial, but I would imagine that the families, through their legal representatives, will be seeking compensation, and they will have to see whether the Russian state will have any responsibility for what's happened, and that will come from the evidence in the trial.
And Russia has, they've said they're not responsible. What response are you expecting from Russia?
Well, I think much more of the same. I mean, we've seen the Russian situation in a number of conflicts. We have seen particularly a complete removal of responsibility over the shooting down of the plane, and also their position as far as the annexation of Crimea is concerned. The four accused are closely connected to the separatist movement. So I think what we should expect is the same coming from Putin and the Russian government, that they will show all responsibility for what has happened. Then it will be a matter for the families and their legal teams to consider whether to take this matter to the European Court of Human Rights or potentially to pursue civil claims against the Russian state, which I think are viable claims.
And Toby, just help me out. Just to be clear, how does this trial take place without the accused there?
Well, a number of jurisdictions have trials in absentia. We have in The Hague, we have an international trial in absentia for a terrorist attack in Lebanon. So trials can proceed in the defendant's absence. But the situation here is slightly different because it's not that they're being tried in their absence in the traditional sense. They've waived their right to be present. So in effect, they're not being tried in their absence. Most jurisdictions will have provision for a defendant to waive their right to be present and waive their right to present any defence. It is, in my view, not a particularly sensible legal strategy to take. And once, assuming they are convicted, and sentenced, then there will be extradition requests
All right.
from the Netherlands.
Toby, we'll have to leave it there. We've run out of time. Toby Cadman joining us there from London. Really appreciate your comments and time.